Hey everybody, our Paradise Falls here, Jeff and
Brittany.
and we are here live to review and discuss The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Episode 5, Truth. Really short title this week. We first things first, before we get started, we want to introduce both our special guests tonight. We have April from Disney Mom of Two.
Hi.
And we have Chris from Two Broke Mice.
Hello.
So, Chris, since this is your first time joining us, can you tell us a little bit about your channel and what you guys have coming up?
Well, I know we got some more of our March trip vlogs coming up. I believe we got some more room tours. And I know we're working on our own live series, but that's still in the works. So that's basically about it right now.
Cool. Awesome. Very cool. And April, could you tell us a little bit about your channel and what do you have coming up?
So, like Jeff said, my name is April of Disney Mom 2. We do unboxings, hauls, and all things Disney and fandom related. Tomorrow, I have the Siskadeers hosting the Year of the Ear, and that comes out tomorrow for April's Ear.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Brittany, you want to get us started off tonight with Truth and the beginning of this episode?
All right. So we open up the episode and John's on the run. He's on the run. He runs to a warehouse, or it seems to be a warehouse.
It's pretty much, if you watch the end of The Whole World is Watching and then start with Truth, it immediately picks up exactly right after that episode left off. And yes, he is running to pretty much for his life. He's definitely going through the trauma and the side effects of what he actually just, like, the crime he pretty much committed in front of the whole world, and trying to deal with, I guess, the side effects of it.
Maybe his guilt. Maybe he has a little bit of a guilty conscience from what he did. But so he goes into the warehouse and you see kind of like flashbacks, and he's talking. Well, not talking, but he's
talking
thinking
to
about
himself.
About Lamar and his friendship that obviously has expired. So,
and we meet up with, obviously, Sam and Bucky catch up to him, and pretty much Sam's trying to talk him down and saying, look, we understand exactly why you did it. It was the heat of the moment. Let's try to take things down a notch, and we need to take the shield back from you. And one thing leads to another, things escalate, and they get into this huge fight. So, Chris, we'll start with you. What did you think of that opening scene with with John fighting Sam and Bucky?
Well, the opening scene, I like the opening scene. Now, before I really get into it, I'm not the kind of person to analyze and break down every single show, every single movie, try to find all the Easter eggs. I don't do that. I just want to watch it, enjoy it. I am comic books, so if I know the character, I try to figure things out a little bit. But other than that, I don't like to analyze. Like, you go on YouTube and you can find all kinds of videos about the 500 Easter eggs in episode 5 or something. I don't do that, so I watch it. I did like the opening, so and I'll say this: Anthony Mackie and Stan, is that his name?
Yes, Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan. Those two from episode 1 play so good with each other, and those two make the whole show so far.
totally agree.
Yeah, we actually, I just showed Brittany, there was like this little funny episode of them on Comedy Central, and they were just like playing off each other, and their chemistry is phenomenal. And I think we actually talked about this in an episode 2 ago, with WandaVision, with Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. Like, their chemistry made the show. Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie, their chemistry makes the show. I mean,
yes.
Without their great chemistry, you wouldn't have a good show. So they've definitely, these directors definitely know how to pair these actors off pretty well together. April, what did you think of that scene, of the opening?
I liked the fight scene. I really did. Yeah. I thought it was pretty intense though when John rips off Falcon's wings. That was nuts. And like, he was about to do exactly what he did to Nico to Falcon. He was like, oh my God, not again. And he kept saying, I had to do this, or you made me do this. I was just like, really? We made you? No, you chose to.
Yeah, that fight scene, honestly, it reminded me a lot of Civil War when Bucky and Steve are fighting Tony. I mean, almost spot on. Even the music and the score, the soundtrack, very spot on. The darkness of it, it reminded me a lot of that scene, which was phenomenal. And then just the whole when they finally get John down or pinned him against that machine, and Sam's turning on the jets, and Bucky's holding him, and I'm like, what are they doing? And then you hear the snap, and it's like, oh, like you cringe from the snap, his arm breaking. Oh. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. So, but yeah, it was a great, it was a good emotional opening fight scene.
And then we go into that John still believes he's Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean, he still says, I am
Captain America. I'm like,
get over yourself, dude.
Right? He's just got an ego bigger than the fit in that warehouse.
Seriously.
So did you guys ever think that maybe that they were just teasing a fight and that John was going to actually give up the shield to Sam and Bucky? Because for a brief moment there, it kind of maybe did look like that they were going to like throw a curveball at us and think, oh yeah, these three are about to fight. And no, he's just going to end up handing over the shield to them.
No, I never thought that he would just hand it over.
What do you think, Chris? Do you think he was considering handing over the shield at all?
No, because he becomes Super Patriot with the shield, and he becomes U.S. agent with the shield. So I just figured he was going to keep the shield. And then the guy at work told me the shield is different than in the movies. The shield looks different than what's in the movies. So I didn't go back to watch the movies, so I don't know.
I would have to look. I'm not sure. I don't think. I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting because I'm pretty sure
his uniform is different. It's not Cap's uniform. It's got silver in it instead of white.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I saw that the uniform is different. I'm just not too sure about the shield though, because the way the Wakandans handle it, they handle it just like or the Dora Milaje, they handle it just like a vibranium shield. But I don't know.
I have to look at comparison pictures.
All right, so continuing along in the episode, we see that the GRC is finally starting to crack down on these flag smasher terrorists. They're pretty much going from location to location and taking all of Carly's followers and obviously bring them into jail, bring them to jail. And then we meet up with Sam's partner,
Torres.
So we
brain fart.
We meet up with Torres, and he's explaining how now the government is now, what I was saying in the previous episode, of why aren't these major governments stepping into these, super enhanced, civilians, humans running all over the place and pretty much putting justice into their own hands. So they decide to finally ground them in this episode, which I'm like, I think eventually, it's coming. And obviously, John rips off Sam's wings and he tells Torres to keep them. So, April, why do you think Sam tells Torres to keep the wings?
I think at that point, Sam's decided he's going to do what Steve wanted him to do, to take the shield, to become Captain America. So he's like, I don't need these. Why don't you be Falcon? Kind of thing, without saying it.
I was going to say, I feel like he was kind of like, he has bigger and better things now than the Falcon. And like you said, I think he's finally going to give in and just become Captain America.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris? Why do you think Sam finally gave up on the wings?
I never gave any thought of it until now. So yeah, it makes sense that he's like, yeah, I know he becomes Captain America. Well, so does Bucky, but I know Sam becomes Captain America, so that makes sense. He doesn't want his wings. He doesn't need them now because he knows he's gonna take on the shield.
Yeah, Michelle just said in the chat she said because Torres is going to become a superhero. I believe he does. Yeah, I'm not too sure of his character in the comics, but I don't know. Chris, do you know more of Torres's character in the comics?
I'm more DC than Marvel, so that's why a lot of these, like in the CW, I can kind of sort of follow along, but in these Marvel movies and shows, I'm just a viewer basically.
Yeah. Well, if anybody in comments, can you let us know more about Torres as far as what hero he becomes? Because obviously we're all not too sure what kind of hero he becomes in the comic books. So moving along, you want to talk about the courthouse scene?
Well, last week, I know Chris wasn't with us, but Morgan from Teaching Disney and April and I discussed what kind of punishment we thought John was going to get. And we all kind of said he was going to get a slap on the wrist and move on. Well, apparently
the U.S. government did not decide that they were going to give him a slap on the wrist. So they actually removed his rank. They honorably discharged him.
Dishonorably.
Dishonorably? Oh, wow. Dishonorably discharge him. They remove his rank, his benefits. Pretty much everything that he's ever done for the U.S. military is no more. Gone. Over an instant, just like that. So, Chris, do you think the punishment fits the crime of what he did?
He wasn't dishonorably discharged, was he?
I was almost positive that he said he was dishonorably discharged.
I thought it was like otherwise, like he was honorably discharged, but he doesn't get any.
I would have to go back, but I made it a point to make sure that I did that because I mean that's a huge deal with being dishonorably discharged. But I'm almost positive. I could be wrong though.
But yeah, I think the punishment fits it. I mean, the dude killed somebody, and you can't be Captain America and kill somebody. So yeah. I agree.
What do you think, April? Do you think the punishment fit the crime?
No, he needs jail time. He murdered someone, and it wasn't. I think the only reason why he's not getting the crime, jail time or like a court trial, or because I know they threatened to court-martial him, but they didn't. They should have. He should have been tried because he murdered someone. In a very public way, with a very high-standing, public figure.
I think just because in the heat of the moment, he kind of went off the deep end, obviously, with just losing his friend. So, you could always make the effect of, or you could always make the, excuse for him. He technically did kill a terrorist. I mean, killing obviously is wrong. We don't want to see anybody die, but these people are terrorists in the show. So he was, in his mind, he felt like he was doing the right thing. I mean, them stripping all of his titles for all the because obviously we go into his backstory by him talking about it, but you never see exactly how he got those 3 medals of honor. So I get what he did was wrong, but to strip all of his titles away for taking down a criminal terrorist, I think it was a little too harsh. For me personally, I get it. We live in like a very different time. And it's a very like social media time. And what he did, he was like pretty much televised to the whole world. So maybe that played more of an effect on it. But if it was in a dark corner, a back alley somewhere, and he did that, and if it wasn't so public, would have been the same outcome or scenario.
Michelle made a good point.
Yeah.
Bucky murdered people too.
But Bucky murdered people as well. But he was under the mind control of the super soldier serum.
But so did
John. John took the serum.
John took the serum. So I mean,
John wasn't brainwashed. Bucky was brainwashed.
Oops.
But I mean, we really don't know if John was brainwashed. I mean, we know that he works for the government, obviously. I mean, you don't really know what people go through unless you're in the service.
As far as PTSD and everything, and the emotional side effects of losing people while you're in combat or in war. So that'll always be that kind of gray area if it's too harsh or not too harsh. I feel obviously him removing the title of Captain America, taking that away from him. Yes, I 100% agree with that. But taking away all of his accolades for being in the service, no, I don't agree with that. Now, if it was an innocent person, I mean, obviously things would change, but they blew up a building.
Carly blew up a building.
But as a group,
that's where I'm getting.
But as a group,
Carly did that. That guy Nico didn't. John decided, I'm going to go after him for whatever reason.
Even though
he murdered him.
And he knew that he wasn't the one that killed Lamar. He knew
Yes.
Carly did it, but he still chose to go after that guy because he was close to Carly and he was the only one he could catch. He murdered him. He murdered him. He didn't have to, but he chose to. He made the choice. So.
Agreed.
Can I?
Sure,
Okay,
go ahead,
if-
Chris, absolutely.
If this show has been tackling racism, could that be they're letting John off somewhat easy, trying to show how the government, sometimes the higher ranking officials get away with things? Could that be kind of
110% yes.
okay?
I agree. It's, to me, it very much mimics the whole police brutality thing. You know, yes, John Walker's not police, but he's a public figure that has a kind of law enforcement-esque-ness to him.
Mm.
He chose that brutality, and you know, it's a lot of reason why the whole people were protesting those when the George Floyd murder happened. Same thing to me. It mirrors it very well.
Yeah, when he gets out of the SUV and they have those people yelling at him, I'm really shocked they didn't really go into more of having more of like a protest or people outside the courthouse really with like signs and everything, like really almost like rioting because of, you know, obviously the whole world knows what he's done. But I'm really shocked that they didn't play more into it. But again, I really wish that this season was like 8 episodes or a little longer. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they probably could have really did with this or expanded upon it. So if we do get a season 2, let's make it like 8-10 episodes so we can really expand upon these, you know, themes. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So right after the courthouse scene, we get our mystery person who approaches John, and her name is very long and I can't pronounce it or whatever she's saying in the thing, and we'll just say this person is Val. So Val is still this mystery person, and she is pretty much almost brainwashing, if you want to say it, to John that he did the right thing, and obviously
I would say that maybe not brainwashing, but just saying he needed to die anyway. So you did the right thing. It's okay what you did.
It's okay that you took the super soldier serum. It's okay that you murdered him. Unfortunately, in our society now, the rules have pretty much changed with that perspective. But we still really technically didn't get a lot of information from her, except the first best decision that he's going to make is picking up a phone call from her. So, April, who do you think is this Val person, this mystery person?
So she's obviously a bad guy. I'm thinking she could be the power broker. She could be very close to the power broker, or she could be someone from like Hydra or along those lines somewhere.
Chris,
do you have any speculation of who this Val person is?
Once I saw her, I could not get Seinfeld out of my mind. I just couldn't. Sorry.
With your blue skunk hair.
But no, I never picked up on her. I mean, I knew she worked for somebody higher, but I never really thought about it, honestly.
She's like the power broker's secretary.
So I couldn't wait, and Michelle actually said it in the comics. So I couldn't wait because I had no idea who this is. But I'm like, all right, I have to know now. Obviously, she's a character. She's got to be somebody. So yes, in the comics, she was a SHIELD agent, as well as she also worked for Hydra as well. She's actually Madam Hydra. She's also a love interest to Nick Fury. So there's a lot of different routes that they're probably going to take with this character. I guess she was supposed to appear in the Black Widow movie first and then show up in this show. But obviously COVID changed everything. So now she's showing up in this show. So now that the speculation is that she's going to show up somehow in the Black Widow movie. So I'm really not too sure of what they're going to do with this character. But the MCU does have a track record of taking multiple storylines for a character and pretty much just merging them and combining them together. So it's going to be interesting.
Morgan from Teaching Disney said anyone thinks she was sent by Sharon right before she showed, but Sharon made that call.
No, I don't.
No,
Sure.
I was gonna say I think the call went to somebody else that shows in the later of the episode as well.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. I also thought, okay, maybe she could be the power broker, but then there's a scene towards the end of the episode where I'm like, no, there's no way that person's the power broker, because again, a speculation of what's going on with Sharon Carter. But I'm just, again, this next week's episode better be like an hour and a half long to tie up all these plot points. Go ahead.
So
I
go
just
back to Carly.
looked it up. And Captain America number 110 is the first appearance of Madam Hydra, who later becomes Viper.
Viper was also in one of the X-Men movies, I believe, as well. She was in the Wolverine movie. She was the one experimenting on trying to use Wolverine's mutant gene to keep the other guy, Silver Samurai.
So do we have a crossover coming?
We were supposed to have a crossover in WandaVision. I'm still waiting for like the wormhole to open and see Quicksilver run through it. Like I'm still waiting for that. Or like Doctor Strange. We were supposed to get that crossover then. Loki, there should be a crossover. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
All these shows are supposed to tie together and tie the movies and all that together, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Supposed to.
Yeah.
So Melinda says that she thinks Val is going to be someone big. And then Michelle said, I'm thinking she's a recruiter for the bad guys who have taken the serum.
Well, there's also another tease of another group called the Thunderbolts. And they're led by Thunderbolt Ross, who is General Ross from the Incredible Hulk comics.
Yeah, you lost me. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, no.
They're the anti-Avengers. They're the Suicide Squad of the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
So yeah, they're the anti-Avengers, and it's a group of bad guys.
Got it.
They're a bunch of bad guys pretending to be good guys to like, I don't know what you want to say. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think, but they're trying to like
make the heroes look bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say that, I guess. And that book's going up in value too, and I don't have that one, but
but it would be honestly though to have John as like now maybe like the leader of that group. It really is really tying into it to maybe that's what they're gonna eventually tease.
Maybe.
Yeah, to set that up.
Yeah.
So we move back on to Carly, and Carly and her group of Flag Smashers go back to the main housing unit where they were holding all of the...
Don't say refugees.
I was going to say refugees, but they're not refugees. And she gets put over the edge, and she completely loses it because the GRC comes in and sweeps everybody out and leaves nothing behind.
Yeah,
so
they take off her friends, her family, any relatives, everybody.
Everybody. So it sets her over the edge, and she said the movement's now, it's happening. The GRC will not get their vote.
The time has come, pretty much. So obviously they must have some kind of final plan
Something
or
big,
solution.
some kind of end game. No pun intended.
No pun, yeah. There's some kind of end game to all this, and they have a plan, and they're putting their plan in motion. So we'll see, but we kind of find out a little bit more towards the end of the episode. So moving right along, we get Zemo and Sokovia. So we're maybe going to get some closure on Zemo and his storyline. I'll talk a little bit more after we discuss it a little bit. So Zemo standing in front of his Sokovian, pretty much memorial of what happened in Sokovia during the events of Age of Ultron. So April, what did you think of the Zemo's potentially last scene?
I honestly didn't like that Bucky pulled a gun on him. I mean, he didn't shoot him, but that didn't sit well with me. I was like, no, what are you doing? Stop. I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me.
I'm going to stay quiet for now.
Okay. So, Chris, did you take anything away from that scene of Zemo's last scene of him standing in front of the Sokovian memorial?
No, not really. But I found it kind of funny that in this show, people are actually rooting for Zemo and not for Captain America. I just kind of find that kind of funny.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why he pulled a gun on him. But I did like when he just opened his hand and dropped however many bullets he had in his hand.
Yeah.
Probably trying to show him that Probably trying to show him that you can't control me anymore. Maybe.
I like that. Yeah.
I would say maybe he's showing him that even though he is a super soldier, or he has the super soldier serum, and Zemo's whole goal is to get rid of the world of super soldiers, that all super soldiers aren't like don't go crazy, or there could be another super soldier like Steve, because he kept harping on in the last episode that there's only been ever one Steve Rogers, and Bucky could essentially be that next Steve Rogers if you wanted to, obviously, now that he doesn't have that mind control still there, as far as we know. But trying to show him that, yeah, you know, you think the world doesn't need super soldiers, but, you know, there could be some very good ones as well. So me personally, if this is the end of Zemo's story, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Extremely disappointed. I really thought that they were teasing him as having some kind of, again, no pun intended, end game plot, or that he really had an ulterior motive, especially with him grabbing the mask, and he only wears it for the one episode. Like, I would just be like, why? Like, you know, you break him out of jail just to really put him back in jail. But the one happy note I did have is the Dora Milaje do not take him to Wakanda. They take him to the raft. And I don't know if you guys remember, but at the end of Civil War, Cap breaks out all the heroes out of the raft. So if he can escape the German prison that he was in, or the CIA prison, I'm pretty sure he might be able to escape out of the raft. What do you guys think?
I think maybe he probably could escape out of it. I don't think it's going to happen in this series. It could happen in Black Panther 2. But I don't think it's going to happen next episode.
No,
I think we're
I agree. I don't think it's going to happen
the
either.
series.
Didn't Bucky and Sam help him escape the jail?
Yes.
So he didn't do it on.
Yeah, Bucky
did it on himself, though.
Yeah, Bucky did technically help him.
So he didn't do it himself. So
no.
I don't know if he could break out of jail himself.
What do you think? Were you okay if that's the end of Zemo's, like,
I was okay.
Character arc?
I was okay with it only because I think there are bigger and better things besides Zemo. The show wasn't supposed to be about Zemo. It's supposed to be about Sam and Bucky. So I'm thinking that they're trying not to focus too much on Zemo, and they're trying to focus more on the other storyline. And like I said, not make it totally about Zemo. I mean, if we want Zemo, we can have a whole show about Zemo. So...
I'd be okay with that. I'm cool with that. If we can get like a whole episode of Zemo just fist pumping, that's great. I just need nightclub scenes of Zemo dancing, and we're good.
Morgan said she needs him in the last episode, and Michelle said he's coming back somewhere. We agree that he's coming back somewhere. We don't know where it's going to be. And like I said, I'd be okay without him. I think I would rather focus on the whole Sam and Bucky thing. But
the only reason I could think of him maybe having closure here too is because there's so many a lot of plot points that they need to wrap up in the last episode, and maybe they just felt, all right, we have an hour and a half, we need to wrap up Flag Smashers, we need to wrap up John Walker, we need to wrap up Sharon Power. Who's the power broker still? We don't know. There's a lot of stuff they need to wrap up, and we're like, all right, well, we gotta like eliminate some of these subplots here. So, but I'm happy they didn't kill him. That's one thing I am happy for. So at least, because again, I think I said this before too, Marvel has a track record with killing a lot of their good villains.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm glad he's still around. So there's always, hey, we'll just break him out of jail again. But if he goes to the raft, and General Ross was actually in command of the raft, and they need him for the Thunderbolt team, could be a possibility.
Another what if? I think this is the scene in the episode where I actually fell asleep. I was a little bored. And not so much bored. It just wasn't very interesting to me. So we come up to Isaiah again, and I was okay without this. I would have been okay without this scene. You talk about it, because I just really wasn't interested. I really wasn't.
So yeah, we see Sam go back to Maryland, and he walks over to Isaiah, or he meets with him, and you pretty much get the feeling that he's going to return the shield to Isaiah and kind of maybe give him some closure. And Isaiah goes on this long talk with Sam, explaining how obviously how he was tested on, how they locked him in jail for 17 years because a lot of his friends who had the super soldier serum were behind enemy lines and they were going to blow up the building they were in. And he goes and gets them out. They experiment on him. He actually loses his wife because I don't think they ever say what she dies from, maybe of old age, but he's in jail for so long. And then finally the nurse in there gives pity on him and is able to write a report of him being dead, and he's able to escape. But I think the problem that I had with this scene was obviously them bringing in the notion of America could never accept an African-American Captain America, which to me, I have a huge problem with that because Falcon has already been Captain America in the comic books. So I get this isn't a comic, this isn't like a direct tie into the comic books, but we keep bringing, like, this is the point in the episode that I got a little too political for my taste. I said it in week 1. I'm like, Sam's ending up as Cap at the end of this. I didn't really feel like we needed this scene to justify more of why Sam deserves to be the next Cap. Steve already passed the mantle on to him. What else more do we need? We just know that obviously he knows he's going to have to, he made a mistake by giving the shield in. And as we see towards later in the episode, he accepts his role in the mantle of becoming Cap. Why do we need another person telling him that just because you're African-American, the world's never going to accept you as being Captain America? So I totally disagree with that because I already was fine with it. So Chris, did you interpret anything different from that scene?
No, I'm with your wife. I could have done without it, but I could see where Sam was kind of on the edge. He wasn't too sure. And then Isaiah told him, a black man can't be Captain America. That may have just triggered something and made him think more about it. So, yeah, I could see where it really wasn't needed. But then on the other hand, it was kind of needed to give him that little boost to take up the shield or think more about taking up the shield.
April, what did you think?
So I 100% think that this was needed. There have been, from the beginning, there's been racial undertones, but a lot of people, so I'm heavily into like the Easter eggs that Chris isn't into. So I watch a lot of videos on it, and a lot of people there's this bigger creator on TikTok who talks about it a lot, and he's an African-American man, and he has gotten people commenting in his comment section saying all kinds of nasty things because he's pointing out all the racist things in it. And there's a lot of people like, oh, well, you're just trying to make it racist. You're just trying to do this. So we needed for those people that are saying this and this and this and this, that it's not a racist show. It 100% is. It is 100% this, there's a lot of people that don't want him to be Captain America because he is African American. Even if it happened in the comics, there's people that don't want it. I agree, it got really political in that scene, and maybe it shouldn't have quite stepped that way, but it's what's happening in the real world. And I think a lot of this show is mirroring what's happening in the real world.
I was just about to say, I feel like since the beginning of the show, when it first started, it is definitely mirroring a lot of what is going on in the world today. And Chris's wife in the chat said the world was a different place 30 years ago. So, yeah. I mean, it truly is. And then Michelle said that supposedly Isaiah's grandson will genetically gain some powers.
That'd be interesting to see.
That would be cool.
Chris, did you have something to say?
Yeah. How old is Bucky now? Do you know?
Like
100. I think 106.
Okay, if he's 106, how old is Isaiah? Because he took the picture. Why is he all gray hair and stuff, really old man, and Bucky's not, and Captain America's not, or Steve Rogers not?
I don't think Isaiah was ever put on ice.
Because there's actually been some plot holes with this part as well. They're saying because Bucky's been put on ice a few times that he was able to maintain his younger appearance.
Wow, okay.
Because obviously Steve was put on ice for what?
40 years,
50 years or so. And that's why he comes out of the ice looking so young, because he was preserved. But when Steve goes back and takes the time stone and goes back in time and then it lives out his life, that's why he's an old man at the end of the Endgame. So they're saying because since Bucky's been cryogenically freezed for most of his life, because Hydra would like use him for missions and then freeze him and then use him for missions and freeze him. So that's why, they would preserve his age.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
So we move on to Bucky flirting with Sarah.
Yeah, so it's definitely gets very political, and then we get a very like this show. Well, this episode for me was kind of like all over the place, and then we get back into kind of character filler again. You know, we go back to Sarah's boat and Sam trying to help her fix up the boat.
Was it needed? Was it needed? Could we have tied up something else in this part? Probably. I mean, I like the humor of Bucky saying hi to Sarah and kind of flirting. It was kind of cute.
That was funny.
But this whole boat thing, like it's the memories of his family, and maybe it's to tie up with Sam trying to move on with life and move on to the next step and everything else. But then it goes into them saying that, we have to preserve the memories of the boat and everything that we've made with family. So, but in this part of the episode, Bucky brings a case and then lands it over and says, all right, well, you sign it over and I'll be on my way. So you want to go? Go ahead.
Well, let's not talk about the case yet. We'll speculate.
Well, that's the part of this episode.
It comes out right there. Yeah.
Well, Sam gets a special case from the Wakandans. We don't know what's inside the case yet, but let's save it for the end so that we can speculate what we think is actually inside that case. But pretty much skipping over the whole montage of them fixing up the boat and everything, because I didn't really care for that scene either. I didn't really need it.
I loved that scene.
What's that?
My husband loved it too. I
loved the scene. Especially when Bucky says hi and then you see Sam in the background like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, that's
hilarious.
That part, but
that part was funny. But as far as just them fixing the boat, I was just like, I don't care about the boat. Like, I'm glad they brought them back together because I really thought it was just going to be Sam by himself again, like how it was in the first episode, where I'm like, I want that like dynamic duo, that like friendly, unfriendly partnership. But what I enjoyed, I think most of pretty much what led up to the scene was we finally get Sam training with the shield, finally. And he's throwing it against the trees and it's bouncing back. And then Bucky's also catching it too. But I think what I enjoyed most about this scene was Bucky finally gives some closure to Sam and does tell him, he's like, I understand now why you gave up the shield. Because of being a black man and maybe having that pressure or that notion of society will never accept you as the Captain America. So we finally get an apology from Bucky. So that I enjoyed. As far as them fixing up the boat, I didn't really care for that. So Chris, obviously you said that you enjoyed it. So what did you take from that scene more than what I'm seeing?
Just, I guess they're taking a break and it's just them two, I guess, getting to know each other away from the superhero thing. That's what I took out of the whole thing. Just them two getting together, more family togetherness. Like you said, he's calling out the favors everybody owes him to fix up the boat. And it seemed like the boat was important in the beginning. So now they're fixing the boat up together. And I guess the brothers and sisters are getting closer together. And that's what I took out of the whole thing.
What did you think, April?
I felt like it was a little long, like it was drawn out a little bit, but I agree. Like, it was nice to see them in a friendship kind of way, not just like a business partner. We got to fight crime, kind of way. Also, I have become pretty obsessed with Sebastian Stan this week, so it's pretty good to see him on screen.
I did like the one scene though where the pipe leaks or something, and then Sam's trying to wrench it up, and then Bucky comes over and goes to do it with his right hand, and Sam's like, dude, why didn't you just use your metal arm? He's like, well, because I'm right-handed and I never think to use my metal.
I don't think about it.
That was funny. So, yeah, there was like little moments of it, but yeah, I agree. But I think it could have been a little shorter. Now, if this season was 8 episodes, I could understand. Great. We need an episode like this before the majority, the craziness of the final 2 episodes or whatever the case is. But, I just, I wanted to get them to more important points.
Yeah.
So we move into.
We go back to John.
Back to John. John visiting Lamar's parents and still trying to. You want to explain it better?
Trying to justify that killing one of the Flag Smashers is still okay, and that he killed the right person that killed Lamar, and he didn't kill the right person that killed Lamar. Obviously, Carly killed Lamar, and he's still making it in his head like he did the right thing and leading Lamar's parents to believe that justice was paid, and he's still in his mind thinking that he did the right thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's what I took from it, and he's crazy.
He's crazy. He's absolutely losing his mind. He's trying to justify everything. Buttered up, he's like, yep, that's for sure what happened. But did you guys notice, I think it was probably Lamar's sister, because it wasn't like the mom and dad kind of like looking at him like, okay, crazy man.
Uh-huh.
See, I didn't know whether if that was she was really looking at him because she's like, dude, you're full of what. But like I kind of got that too, that maybe she's like, this dude's not telling us the truth. There's really more to the story than what he's telling us. But
it looked like towards the end of him leaving, like she wanted to say something to him and then kind of backed off, maybe in fear of him being psycho. And maybe going off on her just like he did on the guy that he killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't, why lie to, this person, Lamar's supposed to be your brother, essentially, and why lie to his family about, with them asking, did you murder or did you kill the guy that killed our son? Well, why lie to them about something like that? At least give them
escalating for him. It's just this is becoming his truth. It's not the truth, but it's becoming his truth. He's told the story so many times. That's truly what he believes now, that he did the right thing.
Michelle said that he's got some major PTSD, and we all agree. But when he became Captain America, it didn't look like he had any PTSD, and he was down to do anything.
But again, that you knew of.
Right.
I mean,
right.
you didn't really get to see exactly
what is the government seeing from him that made him Captain America? Did they not see any PTSD? Was it hidden that much? Like, it goes back to the very beginning of what we didn't see and what the government is seeing.
Well, and to me, it kind of goes back to Bucky was being forced into therapy. Why didn't they force John into therapy after he served 3 tours and obviously probably had to kill lots of people? Why didn't the government make him go through some sort of therapy before he became Captain America?
Speaking of Bucky doing therapy, so he goes to jail for missing his therapy, but now we've got, 4 episodes of him not doing therapy? Like,
I think John
is okay
his
now?
therapist.
Because he's over in Europe, so are the U.S. jurisdictions as far as him having to go to therapy don't apply to him being in Europe. Plot points, people. Plot points. What did you think, Chris? Do you think that John is like trying to rationalize what he did? Still think what he did was right? How do you feel about him obviously lying to Lamar's parents about the situation?
Well, he probably was lying. Because if the parents knew his killer was still out there, that might make him more upset, more worried about it. So he lied to them to kind of give them some kind of closure, maybe?
I don't think he's that good.
Well,
Michelle said the serum made the bad worse.
Yes.
It does do that, though. But again, Carly's not...
Watch your words.
Carly is not a psychopath like John.
She's a different kind of psychopath. She blows up buildings with random people in it.
But her means of doing that is to get like justice in society and like just get justice in the world and do like kind of like a Robin Hood, but in a very extreme way.
Okay, but John just killed somebody so that he could have justice for his friend being killed. Yes, he did it in the wrong way. Carly also did that in the wrong way of blowing up a building.
But John killed a terrorist and Carly killed innocent people.
So why isn't Carly being held responsible?
Well, she is.
They're trying to hold her responsible, but she's just better at running than John is.
Oh, come on. Like,
I don't know. She had some pretty good moves when she was running after Bucky, or when she was running towards the,
Well, speaking of Carly.
No, we can't get to Carly yet.
We already talked about Sam in training.
No, well, you were kind of drooling in that one. The Sam.
Yeah. Hello, Sam with his training of the shield with his shirt off. Hello.
Yeah, she's like, woo, and I'm like, you want me to turn on the AC in here? You want me to turn on the fan in here? Jeez, like,
it was nice to see. That's all.
It was.
Bucky could be running with him. I'm more of a Sebastian stan, apparently. I don't know where this came from, but this last week I'm like, oh, hello.
I do like, though, that how still Sam has yet to take the serum, and he probably never will, which is awesome. But
yeah,
seeing that, well, even though we did get kind of a John taking,
hello.
Connor's making another appearance. We did get that kind of training montage with John, but seeing a normal human being able to train with the shield like that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool to see. No, so.
Oh, yes.
You ready for
We
that?
totally skipped
Yeah, we
that.
skipped that. So go ahead, take it away.
Sharon Carter. Miss Sharon Carter, man. She makes a phone call. Who's she calling?
Yelling at some guy who's speaking, I believe,
French,
I believe. Yeah, French. Yelling at her in French over the phone. Still a mystery person. We see a nice painting.
No idea.
Still don't know what's going on with this character at all. But
she was calling the guys that Sam was after in the beginning.
Yeah, Batroc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
why? Or I don't know. But
is she the power broker? Hopefully. I hope in the next 10 seconds of the next episode, hey everyone, I'm power broker.
How you doing?
Right? Or she's typing an email and signs it power broker or something.
Power broker, is the power broker watching us right now?
So the Flag Smashers are all fugitives, right? They're fugitives. They're on the run, right?
Yeah. They are now.
How did they make it to New York City without being noticed? You go from New York to New York City without being noticed?
They had some sort of airplane in one of the episodes.
Come on.
Well, they got the soldier serum. Maybe they can swim really fast.
Maybe.
So there was this big thing among the fandom back when season 8 of Game of Thrones came out, and if anybody watched that show, the Kingdoms is this huge expansive world, and King's Landing was a months away from Winterfell, and people were just teleporting, they were saying, throughout that whole season just to get these characters in place. I mean, I know you got to turn your brain off for this stuff, but these characters are pretty much teleporting all over the place. We're first in Europe, then we're right back in the States really quick. The Flag Smashers are in Europe, they're over in the States in a day's time. I mean, they're having these characters just teleport wherever they need them to, need them to be for the plot convenience.
I was annoyed. I was super annoyed. I don't understand how that's possible.
Can't we just get a nice, cool episode of them just maybe taking a flight and going through bag checking and maybe whether they're flying first class or not? Just wouldn't that be no?
Well, do they know what they look like? Do they know all their faces?
That's a good point.
They could be just walking right next to somebody and they don't know who they are.
Very good point.
That's a good point.
I was going to say, making that point of how she sends out a text from her phone saying we're everywhere in the middle of a park, and a bunch of random people check their phones, and looks like you and I, just random people.
But no, remember from the first episode, even though the Flag Smashers, they're not all superhuman, they do have supporters. They have a following.
They have supporters everywhere. Yeah.
Of random people that look just like us. I mean, they're not anything special.
Right.
So...
Yeah.
No, go right up. Bring on. No. Yeah.
What?
Right there.
We don't know.
Okay.
That.
Okay.
So, actually, no, we can go back to the park scene because we forgot to mention who shows up in the park.
Who shows up in the park?
Batroc. Getting kind of jumping all over the place here. So yes, we're back to the scene. No, because we didn't even go into it. Sorry, guys.
We're a little tired. It's Saturday.
So yes, we're back in the Central Park scene, or not Central Park, but outside the Empire State Building, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Carly is talking to one of her followers about that we are going to make sure that the GRC vote never happens. And who do you know that shows up in the park? It's Batroc from actually the first episode. I guess Sharon was over the phone with him, telling him that she wants that he's there to kill the Falcon. So again, going back to this whole season of Sharon being the power broker, maybe playing both sides, why would she be hiring this assassin to go and kill Sam Wilson when she was essentially helping them for the past few episodes? So again, it's still, is Val the power broker? Is Sharon the power broker? Are neither one of them the power broker? There's still, that's why I was saying with this episode, I wish they really would have dived in more of who this power broker person is and then led us into the finale that way. So, yeah. Chris, what did you think about Batroc showing back up from the first episode?
I honestly don't remember that scene. You're talking about it, and I'm drawing a blank. I don't remember that scene at all.
He's the pirate. He first appeared in Winter Soldier. He's the pirate that hijacked the ship. And in this season, he was the, I guess, hired gun assassin who was trying to capture that military general that they never disclosed why they were going after him. But he was in that the wingsuit scene.
Sorry, it must be my age. I cannot remember that scene. Sorry.
No worries. April, what did you think of him showing back up?
I'd forgot about him until he showed up again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember you. But I don't know, it just proves Sharon's not what she seems to be. Not what she is, but she's not,
Stop playing both sides, Sharon.
I was just gonna say she's playing both sides. It's she's playing a dangerous game. I mean, those are her friends that she's sending this assassin after.
But those friends who also forgot about her as well.
Well, did they really forget about her? Because she didn't really want to come back to the States either, because she made herself nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
She made herself nice and comfortable and told Sam she was not ready.
All right, so we are getting to the final scene here, and this is what I was saving for last. Well, actually, two things. The first thing is Sam finally opens up the Wakandan case, and obviously we cut to him looking at it, and that's it. They don't, big, huge tease. They don't reveal what's in the case. So, April, what's in the case?
It's either a new Falcon suit or a new Captain America suit for him. But I don't know which one. It's a suit of some sort. It's some sort of suit for him. From
Chris,
the Wakandan.
What do you think's in the case?
I just imagined it was Captain America suit. That's just what I because didn't Bucky say he called in a favor?
Yes.
So probably a Captain America suit. Now I wish what they would have done is when Bucky and Sam were practicing or whatever they're doing with the shield, they didn't show Sam by himself practicing and stuff like that. Cut that scene and just put where he opens the case, and then he's got that wonder look on his face. So it doesn't say exactly that he's getting the suit.
Right. What bothers me is obviously it's some kind of new tech, which Sam needs some kind of tech. If he's not going to become superhuman, he needs some kind of tech to be able to fight these people, these superpowered people. So obviously I think it's probably going to be made out of vibranium, I would think.
What if it's Red Wing?
A new Red Wing? Because his broke.
He could use
But would they need that big?
Well, it did
would they
break
need that big case?
What's that, Chris?
Would they need that big case for that little Red Wing thing?
Well, because Red Wing wouldn't be that great without his Falcon suit. So it's some sort of suit. It's got to be. The
only thing I'm kind of hoping where if it's a Red white, and blue suit, like how it is in the comics, I'm going to be like, well, why would the Wakandans make him a red, white, and blue suit? Wouldn't that? It would be, unless it's some kind of suit. And towards the end of the episode, we get like a nice montage of him like spray painting it, or like, you know, putting some paint on it and make it like how that like classic comic book look, like you got the giant red wings and everything, like how
I don't
it is
know.
in the
Anthony
comics.
Mackie said he wants the deep V like his comic Falcon.
Michelle said the case did glow.
Yeah, but what could, I mean, the only thing that really glows is like the arc, or like Iron Man's arc reactors and stuff. What could be glowing?
What about the stuff that they give Black Panther?
Wait,
No,
when did the case glow?
It had like that blue light.
Well, yeah, that was like a fingerprint thing, wasn't it?
Michelle, inside the case itself, was it glowing?
It
'Cause I
kind
didn't
of
see it.
reflected his face. So maybe.
Well, the vibranium would do that. I mean, if it's nice and shiny and silver, which I think it is, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a like have like a custom paint job on it. I hope it doesn't, because it's going to be like, why would they paint it? Like, you know, he has to paint it. He has to customize it to him. You know. But,
I don't know.
Again,
Yeah,
we only
'cause
have so much time in an episode, guys. I mean,
If I remember right, in the comics, Sam's suit was not exactly like Captain America's suit. It was different. So it could be Captain America, just different colors or different
Right.
schemes to it or something.
Heavily red, because the Falcon suit is more heavily red.
well, in the comics,
white
I'm
and blue.
pretty much in the comics, it's another Falcon suit, except it's red, white, and blue, and he's got these giant red wings on it that expand. So it's pretty much the same. That's what I originally thought when I saw the the first episode. I'm like, he's gonna pretty much keep the same suit, and he's just gonna do like a custom paint job on it.
okay, but those wings are not going to fit in that little case. So
They fold up into that little
They
pack.
Yeah, they fold, because they
Into a
fold into the
backpack.
backpack that he wears, the little jetpack.
excuse me.
How much have you been paying attention? Do you pay attention?
Yes, I pay attention. I was reading Michelle's comment, actually. To me, it was glowing on the inside. And now that you mentioned the vibranium, question from Wakanda.
It's got to be a vibranium suit.
It's got to be vibranium something.
He's got to have that nice vibranium suit with that nice vibranium shield.
And protect it.
It's yeah.
Or here'd be something really cool. So in Black Panther, his suit becomes like nanotech. What if it's like a nanotech where like the wing, like the suit, like nanotechs around him, kind of like Iron Man's armor.
That's my favorite suit of Iron Man's.
That's pretty cool.
Imagine
Well,
if it's that, or if it's just like this little thing on him and he hits a button and it's just like nanotechs all around him.
I love nanotech.
Or like Venom, like a symbiote suit. Kind of.
I
What-
just
what
watched
is-
it the first time.
What is Sam's Falcon suit made out of?
It is Stark technology, because they make
The
a
whole
comment
suit.
on it. Torres makes a comment about when he's working on Red Wing in like one of the first episodes, something about Stark tech, and then I'm thinking they're on purposely contrasting this one with Wakanda, vibranium. I don't know.
The whole suit from head to toe, not just his wings and the backpack and stuff.
I think the wings, the backpack, and what the little guy, what's his name, Red Wing.
Red Wing.
That's from Tony. So I'm thinking this is on purposely not from Tony.
Oh.
Not Stark Tech. So as cool as I think nanotech would be, I don't know that it is going to be.
Well, because in the beginning scene, Sam took a beating from the super soldier, and he didn't have any broken bones or anything, so his suit would have to be some kind of
protective.
yeah.
I'm assuming whatever Iron Man is made out of.
See, I honestly don't know where his tech comes from, because the original suit was like from the Air Force. Was his original suit?
Suit was from the Air Force, and then my understanding is then Tony made him a suit because, as we found out, the freaking Avengers aren't getting paid, so Tony was footing the bill for everything.
Tony did have that line drop in Age of Ultron. He's like, I just, Cap's the leader. I just make everybody look cooler and have.
Yeah,
like,
I just make
tech
everybody look cool.
So, I mean, again, kind of have to turn your brain off. We're assuming it's probably coming from Tony at some point, but I don't know where his suit's made from. But I know where his new suit is made from, though.
Yeah.
All right, so we're finally the second to last episode, we finally get our first end credit scene. And it's funny because I watched the episode and I don't know if I just overlooked it, but I don't remember seeing it. And actually, April pointed out to me, she's like, oh, no, it's there. So I went back before I rewatched the whole episode and I'm like, oh, there it is. So, April, since John Walker is your favorite character, do you want to tell everybody about that end credit scene?
He's making a Wish version of Captain America's shield because he's a Wish version of Captain America. So
that was great.
So yes, we get a brief scene of John in a workshop somewhere, putting together a new Cap shield or a new shield, but he's doing something with his medals that he's won. And maybe putting them on the shield in some way, or maybe melting them down and putting them on the shield. I just don't know how that shield's gonna withstand like super powered beings, like super soldiers. I mean, obviously there's some pretty strong metals and steels in the world, but I mean it's still
it's not vibranium.
Yeah, or he's gonna get into his first fight and they're just gonna take the shield and like bend it, like just like whoop, and that's
exactly what I thought.
Kind of like almost like the scene in Cap First Avenger when he's first fighting the Red Skull and he has that like stainless steel shield or whatever it is, that metal shield, and then as soon as he goes to fight Red Skull pretty much punches the shield and puts his whole fist indents the shield. So I'm like thinking in my mind, how is that going to hold up to these superpower beings? I don't know. Chris, what did you think of that scene, and how do you think that shield is going to hold up?
Well, Captain's shield, that's vibranium. It can take a beating in half and barely get scratched. He's welding up some steel. They can probably, like you said, they just like bend it as soon as they get a hold of it. So I don't know whether it might be some other kind of steel, but it looked like he had a regular MIG welder or something with him, just welding up a regular old shield.
Spray painting it.
Yeah.
Spray paint. It'd be pretty cool if this how they introduce adamantium, and it's an adamantium shield.
I don't know what that is.
That's the metal that's inside Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Because in this universe, vibranium is the strongest metal. It's actually not. Adamantium's the strongest metal, and then vibranium's right underneath, but they obviously couldn't use adamantium because at the time Fox owned X-Men. But that'd be it's not going to happen. That's just a crazy theory. Yeah, that's a very far-fetched. It's not going to happen, but it'd be kind of cool though. And that'd
be one way to tie the X-Men into the MCU. And I guess they're trying to figure out how to do that, and that would be one way to do it.
He's crafting. He got.
How did he get the metal?
Val.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Val gave him the adamantium.
Val gave him a blank business card.
You really think she has adamantium?
All right, so we're wrapping. All right, so on a scale of, we can't say it anymore because he doesn't have the shield. Well, he's making his own shield. On a scale of 1 to 10, fake John Walker Captain America shields, Chris, what would you rate Truth?
The episode against all the others?
Yeah, just on a scale of 1 to 10.
I'd probably give it a 7, I guess. I'm actually comparing everything to WandaVision. I'm sorry. WandaVision was one of them shows where to end it and you're like, seriously?
Yes, every episode.
But this show, so far, it's like, all right, it's over. I'm done. WandaVision, I was waiting for every Friday. This show, not so much. Sorry.
No worries. That's fine.
Don't say sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has their different opinions. Like, for me, when we were watching WandaVision, the first 3 episodes were like, we had to like, all right, fast forward here. Then when it got to episode 4 and it recapped the first 3 and then they actually got into the story, then I was hooked. But those first 3 episodes were just like, you had to be like, I guess, into that kind of thing. And it didn't really do it for me. But go ahead, Chris.
Those first 3 episodes, Melinda and I were out there. Oh, that's this show, or oh, that's from that show. And we were just trying to pick out all the episodes from what they were coming from.
I wasn't really. Were you ever like?
I was, because I was like, oh, that's Full House. Oh, that's
Yeah.
Family Ties. Like, that's how I was with WandaVision. But I was kind of
bored. You can say it. I was bored
I was
too.
bored.
This show's definitely more. Well, I love these characters more. I like Cap's my favorite Marvel hero, so I've always liked his lore and his like characters and everything more than I really did for Wanda or Vision. But that's just me.
Michelle said you were waiting because WandaVision was only 20 minutes long.
April, on a scale of 1 to 10, John Walker, Fate, Captain America Shields, what would you rate this episode?
Probably a 5. It doesn't seem like the second to last episode. Like we've talked about, there's so many plot holes, and like only one got tied up this episode. I feel like they could have done more.
Brittany, what would
Hold
you
on,
do?
I'm asking Melinda and Michelle what they would.
All right, so while Brittany's typing here, I think I would probably give it like a 6.5 or a 7. I was really going through the other episodes. So last week's episode was my absolute favorite. That from start to finish, I found myself even during the week repeating that episode because I had to see that last scene again. Like I said, the last scene with John holding the bloody shield, that will withstand like that will be like an image that people will be like, oh my God, for a long time. And like I felt with this episode, it's like they hit you with that brick wall, and then it's like a lot of like slow character buildup. Whereas vice versa, last week it was a lot of character buildup, and then they hit you with that final moment. So yeah, I'd say 6.5.
I think I would probably agree with April and give it a 5. I fell asleep and halfway through it. So that's never a good thing. And there was some stuff that just wasn't necessary, like we had talked about. Like, it was just, there could have been some other things that could have been put in it instead of those things. So I give it a 5. Melinda said she gave it a 7, and Michelle also gave it a 7. She said I got to play the last episode down, so the final episode has the wow factor.
Maybe.
Go ahead, April.
Oh, I was just saying maybe.
And that I could also agree with. They want that season finale to really be like a kind of maybe like an episode 4 at the end, like a mind-blowing episode where they're going to be like, all right, well, we hit you with the slow one. Now we're going to go 110 miles an hour. We're not going to stop. We're not going to let off the gas. So hopefully that's what this one is. But if they don't have any loose ends and there's not a second season, I will be disappointed. So,
agreed.
And that's, I think, what I'm going to plot points or moving forward. What do you think, Chris, what do you think is going to happen in next week? Anything you want to throw out there of how you think they're going to wrap it up?
Just they're going to make Sam Captain America. I mean, everybody's waiting for it. So, well, actually, Bucky becomes Captain America too. So they could give you that little flipperooski and by the end make Bucky Captain America.
Or kill Bucky.
No.
Get out of here.
You know what?
I just found out I love Sebastian Stan. Let's not kill him yet.
There's a guy at work. He works second shift, so he gets to watch the episode on Friday morning. He came in Friday and was telling me and another guy at work, oh, I can't believe they killed Bucky. And for a second, I thought he was real, but then I'm like, no, he wouldn't do that to us. So the whole episode, I'm watching, I'm just waiting.
You're just waiting for Bucky to
I'm just waiting for him to kill him. So, but yeah, it never happened. So
how rude! Oh,
Yeah,
that coworker I would have.
Yeah, I was throwing that out there as kind of like in last week's review. I was like, Sam and clearly Bucky doesn't want the shield because every chance he gets it, he throws it down by Sam's head, by Sam's feet. He's always like, this is yours. Like, Steve gave you this. You need to live on as that mantle of the next Cap. But again, I'm just like, people always say, it could be Bucky, it could be Sam. But if you eliminate one of them, it's a clear choice to give it to that, whoever they don't eliminate. So, but they probably won't kill him. I'm just being Rude. I'm being fresh. So, April, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen in next week's episode, season finale?
So I think there's going to be another battle with John, obviously. I don't know if it's going to be between the Flag Smashers and John or John and Bucky and Sam again. I actually heard a theory that the reason why they're not saying there's going to be a second season of this yet is because they're going to change it. They're going to call it Captain America and the White Wolf. I think Bucky's going to take on the mantle of the White Wolf, not Captain America.
I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah.
But there's only one White Wolf, and that's Jon Snow.
Get out of here with your Game of Thrones.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. No.
What?
I watched.
I have not seen any episodes of that.
I've watched 3 episodes and I couldn't do it. I was like, this is weird.
You can watch seasons 1 through 6, and then don't pass season 6 because you'll be highly disappointed.
I watched the first 3 episodes and I was like, why?
I begged Brittany. I pleaded with her. I'm like, please just give it a chance, because when they do pay it off, they pay it off.
They pay it off.
There's a lot of slow moments, but when you want, when they finally get into really big plot points, it delivers.
So Michelle said, kill Bucky so Sebastian can go play young Luke Skywalker.
I don't watch Star Wars, so.
They've been saying that for years because Sebastian Stan looks exactly like a young Mark Hamill.
He does.
And I really thought, spoilers, I don't know why we're saying that, but at the end of Mando, when Luke Skywalker shows up, I really thought, I'm like, oh, here it is. It's Sebastian Stan. And then it's a CGI young Luke. And I'm like, I was disappointed.
I did watch Mandalorian, but that's it.
I'm tired of the CGI faces. Just I like what they did in Dr. Sleep, where they actually, instead of CGIing the characters from the original The Shining, they actually got actors and actresses that looked like the characters from that movie, and they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And if you guys haven't watched Dr. Sleep, we have that movie on repeat right now. It is perfect. And of course, Obi-Wan's in it, so it's even better.
Here from joined us right at the end here, and I asked them what they thought, and it wasn't my favorite, to be honest. Fight scenes were fun, but there seemed to be a lot of filling in this episode, and that's what we had talked about earlier, was there's a lot of filling in this one, and it was kind of boring. So out of 1 to 10, what would you guys rate it?
Whether we already did that.
No, here for a moment.
Oh.
I was asking here for a moment. That's what I was talking about. Instead of chatting, they're obviously watching, so I just ask them over.
I'm like, we just did the ratings already.
All right. Let them type it up really quick, and then,
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our live stream. We will be back next Saturday, and I believe we're going to have April and Chris joining us next week. And next week's going to be a huge extravaganza episode. I don't like to keep surprises or hold anything, but during the live stream next week, we actually are going to be doing 2 giveaways. So I'll let everybody know what we're giving away next Saturday. I'll keep it a surprise. But, well, if you want to, April, you can go ahead if you want to let everybody know what you're going to be giving away.
Okay. You guys that don't know, I do have an Etsy shop. I make customized tumblers, and I'm going to be doing a tumbler of Bucky's arm, the Wakanda arm. We've had to make this clear.
I cannot wait to see that. And I heard a rumor that she's making me a John Walker cup.
Not making you a John Walker cup. I will not.
But we'll leave our giveaway surprise. And pretty much all you have to do to enter in our giveaway is be in the live chat and be active. And that's it. We're going to put your names in a random generator, and whoever gets it is going to win one of April's prize and one of ours. So we will see you guys next week. So have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.